you would think that Tisa Tells is in the same cell block with Diddy and on a first name basis and phone conversations with LeBron James. Ladies and gentlemen, that's simply not so. Tisa Tells is lying so much that it's now starting to not even make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like playing cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, Platinum Artist, Platinum Songwriter, Straight Game TV. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, yo, welcome back. Another explosive episode of Straight Game TV. Today's episode, we're going to dive into the latest of viral claims from the YouTube gossip blogger Tisa Tells, ladies and gentlemen, who basically says the other day that Diddy had a full-blown prison meltdown, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how she know about that. I don't know who she talking to in the prison or that's locked up with Diddy. Basically saying that he had a meltdown after learning that NBA superstar LeBron James legally cut ties with him and allegedly referred to Diddy and others as losers. Right? Check this out. I want y'all to understand something. This was the same play that they were running with the Little Rod lawsuit with the Tyrone Blackburn when they were talking about executives, NBA players, politicians, and all being on these freak-off tapes, ladies and gentlemen. We come to understand that none of that was true. So once again, this is the poison pill that keeps on being distributed by Tisa Tells, if you will. So she's basically now saying that LeBron James, right, has cut legal ties with Diddy, right, and allegedly referred to Diddy and others as losers. But here's the question everybody's asking, ladies and gentlemen, or at least the intelligent people. Is it true? Is this true, right? Or is this just another social media lie spun for clicks? You got to understand, and I get it. The bad information always truly usually wins over. But the facts, at the end of the day, once people catch on to you, you know, in the deceptive manner in which people are being manipulated to click on videos and things of that nature. Like I say, I get it. You know, let's break it all down, right? Straight facts, no fluff. Let's go. So like I said, right? The allegation, right? Tisa Tells, the viral claim, right? All right. So here's what sparked the fire. YouTuber Tisa Tells dropped a sensational video this week claiming that Diddy is having emotional breakdowns inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, allegedly throwing tantrums, crying, screaming, and punching walls, right? All of this supposedly after hearing that LeBron James had legally cut business ties with him and was ashamed to be associated with someone now branded as a convicted sex offender. Hold on. That is so like the characterization or the context of what that is so not true. Think about it for a minute. Huh? A sex offender? No, he wasn't labeled as a sex offender. Solicitation or should I say prostitution, carrying somebody across the border for prostitution. That's not a sex offender. That's something totally different. So right. Tisa also said, and I quote, that Diddy was enraged that he's now being grouped with losers and blacklisted like R. Kelly. Now, Y'all already know Tisa videos are known for mixing real headlines with wild speculation, as we know that already, right? But is this latest bombshell or supposed bombshell true, or is it another case of what we call clickbait gossip theater? Because as you see, there's a bit of a performative a theater over there on Tisa Tells. Like I said, once again, people are being denied the truth, and that's the sad part. They're being misled with these sensationalized stories, these titles that are not accurately depicting what's going to be talked about in the video. You know what I mean? Only to watch it, give it the view or whatever, and just be like, okay, I don't know. Like I said, I can't even imagine what the final analysis or the final thought is after watching a whole Tisa Tells video. I just look at the title when it comes across my thing. I'm like, wow. And so I go do my research and I find nothing of the sorts. I'm like, where's this information coming from? Like I said, does she know somebody in jail with Diddy, or, she talking to somebody? Did she talk to LeBron, to see what that is, if that's really true, right? Now, the LeBron James angle, business or morality, right? Let's take this apart. First, the LeBron James angle. Yes, it's factually accurate that several of Diddy's former friends and business associates had distanced themselves from him following the multiple lawsuits, FBI raids, and now the federal conviction. We knew that when it was going on because nobody spoke up for him. You know what I mean? We see nobody spoke up for him. Nobody came to say anything. The only person that was there really truly honest was Kanye West, right? From Revolt TV executives stepping down to the liquor brand partnerships being dissolved, there's been a clear shift in the industry. But did LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen, but did LeBron James officially cut ties? That's the question, because that's what's being alleged in the video, and to be able to have knowledge of something like that. Did LeBron James cut ties, right? Our research, like I told you, once I see it, I do the research. Our research, I found no official statement from LeBron or his team publicly denouncing Diddy. There is no press release, no interview, no verified comment, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lie. It's a lie, right? But sources close to major entertainment media say Spring Hill Entertainment, LeBron's production company, has quietly canceled any joint initiatives involving Diddy, right? So that's totally separate from what Tisa Tells was trying to imply, right? If you look at the title, that's not what, and this is other sources. Okay, cool. Like I said, that's a situation involving a business situation involving an entertainment company. And this is a sources close to major entertainment media, say Spring Hill Entertainment. Like I said, where are the sources? We've heard from none of them, if you will, right? So yes, it's very possible LeBron and his camp are quietly pulling away. But the loser's quote, the quote that Tisa Tells made in regards to that, but the loser's quote, we found zero evidence, ladies and gentlemen. I guess, that's the little one word that gets added to the title that kind of, I think, losers, or whatever, man. Like I said, it's just ridiculous. We found zero evidence to confirm LeBron ever said that. He didn't say it. Zero evidence, ladies and gentlemen. That was something that Tisa Tells put in there, basically trying to assert that somebody said something that they didn't say in order to get you to click on the video, thinking that LeBron James possibly called Diddy a loser from that perspective, or other people losers, if you will, right? What's really happening with Diddy in prison? Now let's talk about Diddy's mental state behind bars. Diddy was convicted of 2 federal felonies and is awaiting sentencing in October, ladies and gentlemen. We know that, right? And sources from inside the MDC Brooklyn say that when he returned from the court verdict, he was seen sobbing, clapping, and praying, right? That's consistent with the idea that he's under extreme emotional stress, right? But is he throwing violent tantrums and losing it because of LeBron? Right? You get that? You see what I'm saying? See how the name LeBron is tied into the reason why Diddy is feeling the way that he's feeling, from that perspective, if you will, going through what he's going through right now. You got to ask yourself, is throwing violent tantrums and losing it because of LeBron? Is Diddy throwing tantrums and losing his mind and doing all of this because of LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen? Right? Let's be honest. Prison is something that really truly takes a toll, and crushes somebody's ego. Like I said, one is just there. Like I said, he went from luxurious private jets and Ciroc deals to a prison cell with no bail and stripped down privileges, ladies and gentlemen. That's a breakdown. That's a that will crush anybody living like that, right? Probably, right? But a LeBron James related breakdown, that's a far reach. But like I said, if you put his name in the title and then make some kind of assertions, and people would think like, oh, LeBron Diddy, it's simply not true. There's simply no evidence to show that Diddy had a breakdown in relation to LeBron James. And it's crazy to even assume or suggest that without any proof, right? Like I said, so you got to ask yourself, why is Tisa Tells, why does she keeps pushing this narrative or these false narratives? Let's keep it real. Tisa Tells has built her brand off of dramatized celebrity coverage. She did break a few stories early, including whisperings about Cassie lawsuit before it went public. But lately, it feels like she's leaning more into unverified speculation than hard facts, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And so when you deal with that, you got to ask why. The trial is over. The number of views has gone down, for everybody who was covering it, right? So now, it's like she's jumped on this unverified speculation train, rather than any kind of hard facts, right? You got to ask yourself why. Why is that? Because Diddy, LeBron, and the phrases like Meltdown and Blacklist trigger algorithm gold. It triggers algorithm gold. And I get it. I understand that, right? She's feeding an audience that wants a Diddy to fall hard. And while he has fallen legally and publicly, it's important to separate the court record from the conspiracy gossip, right? We all seen and know when somebody gets found guilty for a crime. We understand what that is, right? Listen to this. At Straight Game TV, ladies and gentlemen, we don't push a parrot or what we see on other blogs. We check the facts and we call out what's real. Like I said, we don't just, like what a parrot does when they keep repeating after when they hear the owner say something like Polly want a cracker, Polly want a cracker. Now we don't do that. What we're doing is we're going to look up, check out the research, and then come back and tell you what's real, right? It doesn't hurt us not one way or the other, like I said, but at least you have the information that you need. So, ladies and gentlemen, did Diddy have a breakdown because of LeBron? No, there's no evidence of that. Had a lot of people began to disassociate themselves from Diddy, even before he was even criminally charged. When they seen when Cassie brung out the actual civil lawsuit, yes. Then when the video came out, he became more isolated. But having mental breakdowns and all of those things in prison based on a situation with LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen, is simply not true, right? It's conspiracy gossip. Like I told you, here at Straight Game TV, we don't parrot and mock what we hear other people saying on other blogs, right? We check the facts and we call what's real. So like I said, So what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, Diddy is in real trouble. Yes, his celebrity relationships are crumbling. But no. We don't have verified proof of a LeBron-triggered prison meltdown, ladies and gentlemen. It simply didn't happen, right? Don't believe every headline and don't let gossip replace facts. Your boy DELRAY, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, once again, we just trying to keep it accurate and keep it factual. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.
Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.